So this is the Kaito KA600 Voyager Pro emergency radio. All hazards in NOAA weather alerts. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed and take a look. So this allows you to power the radio and plug into the wall. Comes with a micro USB cable. And here it is. One of the first things I really want to take a look at is what the battery looks like on the inside. I kind of like the fact that this can also house AA batteries. So we're just going to take this out. Or actually, no, we don't even have to do that. Here's that white tip they were talking about. It just plugs into the socket right to the left, right here. So I started the little battery test on Friday. Today is Monday morning. And right now we're getting the low battery indicator right there. It's blinking. And you can also see the low battery light blinking as well. I just wanted to see if I were to flip over from battery setting right here to the solar crank, if the battery charge indicator goes all the way up, which I'm hoping it will. Alright, it doesn't. So what that tells me is that even though it was running off of battery power, it was still using the crank battery. So I'll have to look into that further and get back to you on that. So with just the alert function enabled, we were looking at about 3 to 4 days of runtime. But that's including the nickel metal hydride battery that's in here and the AA's. What I discovered was that no matter what setting this is on, whether it be on battery or hand crank, the nickel metal hydride battery is always going to be used. The reason I say that is because all I did was I put AA batteries in here and the nickel metal hydride battery. I set the setting to battery, BATT right here, and it actually drained both sets of batteries with just doing the alert test. So essentially what I did was I turned on the weather band radio and I hit the alert button, and I just wanted to see how long this radio would last. And I believe I started that on Friday and it lasted until Monday. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the setting on battery mode, on the battery setting, because we know that regardless of the setting, this battery is going to be used. So I'm going to leave it on the battery setting, and I'm going to put in these AA batteries from which I have tested to make sure that they're good. And we're going to see what kind of run times we get just by using the weather band. And I'm going to let you know how long this lasts for using the weather band. So now we're going to set it on the battery source, and we are going to set the weather band.
Chance of rain.
There we go.
Scattered thunderstorms.
And I will report back to you.
Thursday night or less.
So right now we're going on 48 hours, and the battery light is starting to blink, the low battery light.
Small craft.
So I anticipate this is going to be cutting out soon.
For today,
I'll keep you posted.
winds 15 to...
So we are going on 51 hours. I noticed that the sound stopped, and I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised. So right now it's showing the battery icon here. It's fully depleted right there. And I got a lot more runtime than I thought off of this radio, I will say. One thing to note is that it looks like it'll feed off the AA batteries when it's on battery mode. But when those batteries are depleted, even though it's on the battery mode, the crank radio battery will automatically kick on. And I think that primarily has to do with if the AA batteries lose all of its power, the crank radio battery will kick on so that it can preserve the time and also get that extended runtime for your radio, either alert or runtime for playing whatever you're receiving off the broadcast. So yeah, not a bad radio. It doesn't have the newest battery chemistry. It's nickel metal hydride. and it's a small 600 milliamp hour battery, but I mean, you don't really need a large battery if you're using that for the crank charge feature, because you're not going to be able to fill up a huge battery with the crank charge portion. It would take you forever to do that. So, all in all, this is definitely a radio I would recommend. So if we were to plug in the AC adapter here on the back, it's going to be right here. It's probably going to start to charge. Yeah, so you'll see the charge icon come back. See if I can get a better shot. There's the charge icon. And I can tell you right now, it's not charging the alkaline batteries because that is not possible. So even though it's set on the bat mode, the battery mode, it's the crank battery is still in use and is still going to charge via the AC adapter. And you know, if you want to have a radio that you just want to keep on your desk, my advice to you, if you're going to go with this one, is to take the nickel metal hydride battery, unplug it, and leave it unplugged inside the radio so that it doesn't continuously draw or cycle that battery. And just leave the AC adapter in. If you're just looking for a tabletop alert NOAA radio, just do that. You don't have to put any AA batteries in it, and then you have the option for when the power goes out. Not a bad tabletop radio for all the function you get, and you can use it in emergencies as well. So some of the basic features: you have a backlit screen. Here's the power button.
For today,
Has the weather band.
10 to 15 knots.
It also has a antenna. It's not the longest antenna. When you turn on the weather band,
Diminishing to 5.
you can hit the alert button here, and that turns it off. And then when an alert comes through, this will turn on, and the weather band channel will start to notify you of what the alert is. It has a flashlight. It also has a reading light in the back that has a solar panel connected to it. So if we were to click the button on the top here, it's actually a sliding button. That turns on the reading light. You have your tuning knob on the right here. And I saw some reviews that the volume, because of a design flaw, that the volume knob is tight. It is tighter than the tune, but I took I unscrewed the screws that connect this protector here that is supposedly causing the volume knob to be a little bit tougher to turn, and it's not. There is no problem. It's not conflicting with the volume knob. It's a non-issue. Don't worry about it. You also have a hand crank. So there's two battery sources, which I think is a major factor for emergency radios. In fact, I generally would say not to purchase an emergency radio if it does not have two battery sources. There's tons of other features in this radio. You have long wave, you have short wave, you have the NOAA weather band, you have AM, FM. Right here you could toggle between the battery mode, which is going to be the AA batteries that you put into this. Because there are no AA batteries, it's telling you, hey, you need to select the power source. Select a better power source. You have the solar hand crank here. So it'll use that nickel metal hydride battery that I showed you earlier. And then if you just want to run off the power adapter, you could switch it over to that and just keep it on your desk. It tells you the charge status. It'll give you a low battery light indicator warning. And it'll also blink red, which is what it's doing now, to notify you that it's on alert mode. There also is a temperature and humidity gauge right here. It's going to tell you what the temperature is in Fahrenheit. I think you could change that to Celsius, and it also tells you the percent humidity.